Good morning. I'm Dan Wanvig, and I'm excited to be going to Indonesia as an airplane pilot and mechanic with Mission Aviation Fellowship. To begin, I want to take you back to the summer of 2011 and introduce you to a woman named Ledipina. Ledipina lives in a small remote village on the island of Papua, Indonesia. The village at this time has only 2 people with any formal medical training. The Johnsons, a missionary couple that constantly have a steady stream of sick and needy people coming to their door. Ledipina found herself as one of these people. She was having seizures and was struggling to breathe. The Johnsons determined that she had cerebral malaria and would die without proper treatment. They were able to provide a life-saving IV, but they needed to get her to a place where she could get better treatment, and their supply of IV fluids wouldn't last long. Fortunately, the Johnsons had the support of Mission Aviation Fellowship, or MAF for short. MAF had a float plane that made routine trips to the village by landing on the nearby river. Now at this point, I know what you're probably thinking. You're thinking, oh great, MAF came in with their float plane, flew the woman to safety, and just like a storybook superhero, saved the day once again. But that isn't what happened in this case. So wipe that smug look off your face. The Johnsons were informed that MAF's float plane was down for maintenance and that it wouldn't be able to fly again for some time. MAF had another airplane available though. It wasn't a float plane, and there was no airstrip where it could land, but they were able to fly low over the village and toss out the carefully packaged IV fluids that were so vital in keeping Ledipina alive. The Johnsons later said that the airdrop was right on target, and that they believed it was that airdrop that allowed Ledipina to pull through. Stories like that one are not at all uncommon. MAF provides medical relief flights like this one, transportation for pastors and missionaries. We fly supplies into isolated villages, and much, much more. In the comfort of America, it's hard to imagine the type of isolation that so many people live in because we're so used to being able to get in the car and drive anywhere that we want to go. I really hadn't considered this type of need myself before hearing about Mission Aviation. I grew up in a Christian home and came to Christ at a young age. I had heard lots of missionary stories, but it all seemed too distant and unrelatable for me. That changed dramatically when I was about 10 years old. I was sitting around on a summer break, and I began to think about what I would do with my life. I wanted to make an impact for God's glory, but I wasn't sure how. I thought about becoming a pastor, but I decided that I didn't like the idea of getting up in front of people and talking. Not even a year later, I heard about Mission Aviation for the first time and decided that with my love for airplanes, that would be a great way for me to use my passion to serve the Lord. A couple of years after pursuing what I believed to be my calling, I stopped and questioned whether God was really leading me in this direction or if I was doing what I wanted to do. I prayed that God would guide and direct me into His will. He answered. I left from school at noon that day to go to work as normal, but it was beginning to snow and traffic was getting bad. It ended up taking me 5.5 hours to complete what was normally a half-hour drive. I realized that I had lost an entire workday because of snow and traffic. What if I had been a missionary that had failed to get any work done that day? Bad roads and poor transportation are part of daily life for many people overseas. That's when it really sunk in for me how important the work is that MAF does, and that God really is leading me and preparing me to serve Him in this way. Now I'm at the point of seeking a team that will send me out. Lord willing, I hope to be fully funded in the next few months and leave for Indonesia by next summer. If God has stirred a desire in your heart to participate, I would greatly appreciate your prayer and financial partnership. I will have a display table in the back, and I would love to meet you and answer any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you today.